Hi, everyone. My name is Ravi. I'm the co-founder CEO of Zeeve. And today on Web3 Voice, we have a very exciting AMA with the binary holdings. So if you have ever wondered how Web3 can transform something as large, as essential, and as old school as telecom, I think today's discussion is for you. And today we have a very special guest, Darpan Keshwani, who is the VP of Marketing at the Binary Holdings, a company that is not just talking about Web3 adoption, but literally onboarding 169 million users across Southeast Asia through various telecom channels. So it's my pleasure to welcome Darpan on this AMA. Hi, Darpan. And Darpan, we would love to for you to introduce yourself, tell us about your Web3 journey, tell us about your journey with such an exciting venture in the Web3 space, the binary holding.
Hey, pleasure to be here, and thanks for the warm intro, Dr. Ravi. Yeah, I met the Zeeve team recently at Token. It was nice to see. It was nice to see Thomas and Gunn. Yeah, so a little bit about myself. I'm part of the marketing team at the Binary Holdings. My crypto journey, I think it started like most people's do, which is by accident. Um, but in 2019, I found myself in one of the first layer two projects building on Ethereum. Back then, we were competing head to head with Matic. However, the company I started as a community guy there, built up a pretty large community of about 150,000 folks, which I think was like everyone in crypto, like about 6, 7 years ago. Um, the layer two then got acquired by a VC called Genesis Block. So I moved there in the marketing team, and I helped a lot of projects. Whichever projects Genesis invested in, I helped them go to market. Did my rounds with IDOs, ICOs, IEOs, launchpads, all of that good stuff that is not the meta anymore. Um, the marketing team for Genesis, or the team that I was working with, were pretty successful. So we got spun off into an agency. So I worked there as an account director, handling about 8 to 10 clients with names like Illuvium and My Neighbor Alice, and trying to get them to sell out their NFTs. DeFi Summer were just starting, so I experimented a lot, marketed a lot of DeFi protocols. And post that, I landed at the Binary Holdings. I think one of the things that got me really excited about staying in the space, not only like building in it, I guess, is the pace at which it moves. It's crazy to see that 6 years ago, there were only 2 Ethereum layer twos, and now there's, I don't know, 1,000. I think, Dr. Ravi, you are an authority at launching layers and rollups, so you probably know better than I do the final figure, but just entire ecosystems, infrastructure stacks, and so on and so forth in just 6 years. It's been pretty crazy to see.
No, absolutely. I think you have had a very exciting journey in Web3. Working with a layer two in 2019 is pretty cutting edge. Um, and I'm sure, Arbitrum optimism were in the building at that time. There was a paper from Vitalik, and based on that, a lot of conceptualization happened, whether to launch an optimistic and ZK initiative started. But as you're right, 2020, when we started seeing DeFi NFTs coming into picture. So you were part of all those pieces. Fortunately, I also got into blockchain in 17 and been part of the whole ICO, IEO craze that happened in those 4, 5 years. Um, so, Darpan, coming to binary holdings, so binary holdings, as we understand, has this massive, ambitious vision to rebuild telecom for the decentralized age. And telecom, I think we are already seeing adoption. We have clients in telecom space like Vodafone or Deutsche Telekom. And we are seeing telecom has always been at the forefront of technology adoption. Um, so for those who are new to it, what exactly is the binary holdings, and what kind of problems you are solving for the telecom operators and users?
Yeah, thanks. That's a good question. So, um, I'll give a short intro of what we do. So basically, the Binary Holdings, we power loyalty programs for telcos in Southeast Asia. And we do that by inserting decentralized apps inside telecommunication apps to reward users who engage with these dApps, right? So what we're doing is we're basically helping telcos with customer engagement, understanding customer behavior, and collecting data, of course. The problem with a lot of telcos in Southeast Asia, and I think just telcos in general, right, is their audience sizes are like, I think, the largest in their nation, but they're not able to keep the user coming back like an Instagram or a TikTok or, a Twitter would. You open those apps multiple times a day. Um, with telcos, the scenario goes as follows. You basically open it to pay your phone bill and then that's it. You're gone. So they need better ways to engage users and they need it. They need cutting edge solutions, I guess, that are not expensive, that are plug and play. And we basically offer them that. So I'll just give you if you just visualize with me for whoever's listening for the first time, how this works is basically, let's say you open up your Geo or your Vodafone app, you either see a coin icon up top or you see a widget at the bottom that says lifestyle or something like that. And once you click on it, it opens up inside the telco app, interface that looks like the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. But instead of like normal Web2 loyalty, where someone would have to spend money, earn points, and then spend those points, we've been able to tokenize engagement, which is people play games, various dApps, so on and so forth. They spend time on them, and then they earn our tokens, which is the binary token, which they spend to, basically pay their bills or shop for e-commerce items or collect vouchers, so on and so forth. Basically, the reason that we started, I guess, doing this, or the reason the company was formed was because we saw that gap in telco loyalty, and especially in Asia, right, where everyone is like very, very mobile first. This is like a highly penetrative mobile first market, but people or companies or industries like telcos with the largest markets are not able to tap into them. So that was kind of the need of the hour for this, I guess, invention from our side.
Well, that's absolutely fascinating. When most people think about telecom, they think about data plans and SIM cards. But I think you're talking about engagement, DeFi, tokenized ecosystems, and I absolutely see this as a big leap. So what essentially I understand is that binary holdings is not just a venture which is helping monetize, but it is more like an ecosystem which is connecting the telecom users with various other apps or utilities, whether it be SocialFi, whether it be gaming. And that helps the telecom operators to monetize the users, but at the same time, users get something in the form of binary tokens that they can reutilize. So basically it's a win-win for the entire ecosystem operators, and you are connecting a lot of Web3 ventures out there, telecom users, telecom operators within one large ecosystem. Am I right?
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, it's beneficial for the telco, but also for like crypto as a whole, because I think so far, basically when a user opens up like or gets a SIM card, he or she's already pre KYC'd. They enter the telco app and they get a wallet assigned to them, abstracted away by us. So far, I think we've activated about 78 million wallets. And what we do for the crypto side of things is most dApps and most chains, they crave users, right? So what we do is we become that middleware or that interface through which normal people who don't really play or interact with crypto can stumble upon these dApps. So in essence, what we do is we function as like the Web3 distribution layer. And any interaction, let's say so far we partner with about 5 chains to put their decentralized apps inside telco apps. Some of the big names that people might know include Mac Chain, Hedera, Avalanche, Lisk. We put their apps or dApps inside. People interact with their dApps. And the transaction data and wallet IDs and so on and so forth are reflected on the chain that the dApps sit on. So in essence, chains and dApps get DAUs and transactions, and telcos get engagement.
Got it. No, I think that's pretty cool. When for last 3 years in various events and conferences, we have been hearing onboarding a billion users in Web3, and I think you're already doing a substantial role in onboarding millions of users, hundreds of millions of users uh, into Web3. So, Darpan, telecom, has been one of the most powerful industry. But as far as user engagement are concerned, and I think you have voiced it very correctly, the innovation has been a bit slow. So, traditionally speaking, what do you think has held telcos back from real innovation? And why is now the right amount of change? And where does, binary playing a massive role? And not just in Asia. I think you have started in Asia, has onboarded hundreds of millions of users. But do you see this can be expanded, model can be taken to other geographies and other telcos?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'll answer the last part of your question first. Yeah, we're live in Indonesia and Philippines, largest telcos, and we're going live in Sri Lanka and Bangladesh soon. So that's kind of, the progression that we're seeing, at least from our front, that telcos are interested. Like the solution, it's in its early days. I won't say that it's, a huge success, but like a massive, like super penetrative, everyone knows about it. But, for early days, I think we're doing really well. Now, the reason I guess why telcos haven't been able to innovate or stay stagnant is mostly because of the incompatibility of like tech stacks. And the fact that users who use telcos or who would want to use a solution like ours are probably not crypto natives. They're normal people who get scared when the interface is or the interaction with these apps becomes too complicated. So I think one of our co-founders' name is Sid. He keeps calling telcos dumb pipes because they don't use the data they have because they're not able to process or interact or make sense with the volume of data that they collect. So in order to do that, and some of the solutions that they've tried have been way too complicated, both on their end and the user end, which is why innovation has stagnated. I am no authority on this. It's just stuff I've heard within our meetings. But if and how we're able to kind of penetrate is by simplifying and gamifying all of this. So that's why, number one, I guess that's why innovation has stopped. And that's what's been the biggest blocker, which is, I think everyone knows like, UX, UI and all of that stuff. I wouldn't harp on that, but just something that appeals to or fits with the tech stack of both the telco while appealing to the end user. So that's kind of how we got started and what our approach has been so far.
You got it. No, I think that's very insightful. If you consider telecom as a large forest, I think it's very easy to get lost in the forest. But since you're coming from outside traditional telecom, which often means that you can see the efficiencies much more clearly, right? No, I think that's super cool. So let's deep dive bit into the binary network. You have essentially built a Web3 layer inside telecom apps. So how does that work exactly? So just imagine I'm an average user, say let's say I'm using Indosat or Globe Telecom. What would change in my daily app experience because of binary?
Yeah, that's a good question. So essentially the blockchain layer that we've inserted is used to dispense points from us to the user. And that's why we call it like the distribution layer, because that's what we do. We distribute points from users. And that's also what allows us to partner with basically anyone in crypto, any chain, to give them access, because our blockchain layer simply exists to activate wallets and send them the binary tokens. Now, if you're like a, average Joe who's using our solution, nothing changes for you except the fact that now, let's say you're like a Grab driver or a Gojek driver or one of those. Now, instead of, spending 5,000 rupiah or 10,000 rupiah on a phone bill and it eating away at your savings, you now have a way of engaging with something and basically commoditizing your time. So you get the token and it's very straightforward. You can just buy data, or you could just buy or pay your phone bill. So I think it's good that nothing changes. Um, and I also think it's good that our blockchain is a very specific niche use case that we've kind of implemented into the telcos. And the final thing, and the reason why we've kept it like that is because a lot of enterprises struggle with the privacy side of blockchains, right? That's why they opt for private blockchains. With this, I think it's good that it's transparent. Like, if let's say you're like a super crypto native person in the Philippines who actually understands what's happening, you can actually check how much time you spent or what interactions you did to earn the amount that you did. So it's one of those use cases that just works for everyone involved. The Web3 side of the Web3 folks, our partners that we have, as well as the telcos who don't really have to worry about privacy. And it actually works in our favor that it's like super transparent. And yeah, nothing changes.
No, I think that's pretty smart because as we have seen in any market economies, opacity in the traditional Web2 ecosystem has been massive. And whether you take advertising network, whether you take advertiser publisher network, or any kind of market economy, various sectors always feel that some monetization is missing, or whatever monetization they are able to do, still they feel that they do not have full transparency. Now, I think that's pretty cool. So, Darpan, now coming to scale, 169 million users. That's a pretty staggering number, and with 143 million active users. Most Web3 projects, in fact, dream of hitting even 1 million, right? We have seen that most of the projects in Web3 are struggling to get a good number of users or transactions. So, couple of questions. One, how did you achieve such a scale in such a short time? And second, what has been your challenges or learning while onboarding, especially non-crypto users into crypto users? I think this is something which lots and lots of dApps and other projects and other Web3 builders would be very, very interested to know.
Yeah. It's a question that I guess makes you think as well. So our strategy was quite simple. We just partner with the biggest net. Telcos have the biggest net of people under their umbrella. So you partner with a place where the distribution exists. That's number one. Number two, what we did like more practically, I guess, is as soon as someone would sign up or get a SIM card, they automatically get airdropped like a fraction of binary, which in turn drives curiosity, because if you have a floating coin icon up top on your telco app and it says that you have like, let's say 2 or 3 binary or 2 or 3 gold coins, then you probably are going to click it like at least once, right? So that was kind of how we got started with the acquisition. And we also like pretty much continuously work on the UX UI side of things for this loyalty program. Like different markets have different looking loyalty programs, by us. Basically the dApps and, everything remains the same, but it just looks different across different telcos. So it's just about figuring out what works for that market. I think there's like heavy user testing. And because our sample size is large, we're able to make those changes. And the final thing, I guess, is that we hide everything crypto. We don't really mention that any of this is working on chain, because a lot of people, I think it's just a reality of the industry, right? A lot of people have a sullied image of what crypto is and what Web3 does. People are scared. And I'm not saying I don't think it's for bad reason, right? People have been burnt. So we do as much as we can to hide away anything that mentions crypto. Of course, if you dig deep enough, you'll find it. But even the wallet, where your binary sits, say you earned like 20 binary today, even that wallet, it just looks like a normal wallet. There's no like, obvious address, like wallet address and so on and so forth. And we just have to keep it abstracted away. I think some of the more like recent successes in our industry reflect that. Like, I think Polymarket is a fantastic example. most people who use Polymarket don't really know that they're on chain. And that's kind of the philosophy that we've adopted as well.
Got it. No, I think that's a great point that you have mentioned. And I imagine the magic lies in making Web3 invisible. Users enjoying the benefits of Web3 without thinking about wallets or gas fee or crypto. I think that's pretty smart out there. So it's essentially like bringing Web3 apps or utilities within the Web2 interface, so that users benefit of become part of Web3, but at the same time they uh, continue to have the same experience they are used to in the Web2 space.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool. So now a bit about the technology. You initially launched on a layer two using OP Stack, and we have been fortunate to be part of your journey from layer two to currently layer one. So now you have migrated to Avalanche L1 with Z being your infrastructure partner. So what has been your motivation to launch your own chain, and how has Avalanche plus Zeeve combination has helped you handle such a massive scale?
So I think we've been working with Zeeve since I joined Binary, which was, I think, about a year ago. We started off as an OP stack chain, but I think the realities or the practicality was that OP did not or stopped supporting custom gas tokens, which we really needed because that's kind of the currency that's accepted within like telcos. But I think that transition or moving between OP to AVAX with Zeeve was seamless. I mean, you guys were instrumental in helping us picking a chain that would be able to not only scale, but also scale cheaply, right? Because that's important for a startup because, we're funding the gas fees and all the transactions that we process in a day, about 30 million or so, are done flawlessly. So right from pre-migration to during migration, and also the interface you provided us with Cognitus, if I'm like pronouncing that correctly, has been instrumental in helping us, at least for me on the marketing side, to be able to go out and get the partnerships that our team does with different chains. It's visible proof and it's like nonstop. Plus, I guess one final thought from my side is the response and the quick responses that you guys offer is also kind of a lifesaver for us. So in all aspects, from tech to support to even like going beyond and doing some BD and getting us in touch with chains and foundations that would work well with us. I think Zeeve is like a great turnkey and overall partner that is instrumental in how we operate today.
Well, thanks, Darpan, for the encouraging words. I think it has been a great learning experience for us as well, working with Binary, because we work with quite a few enterprises and Web3 builders where, the compliance security requirements are pretty high, but the number of transactions are not that high. You're one of the partners that we work with, which has got a huge scale of numbers. And I think that always, is challenging and good learning experience for our team to continue to innovate, to see, how we can continue to sustain higher numbers, keeping the cost as low as possible. Uh, you know, so it makes sense for everyone. Every venture, I believe, has to be commercially viable so that it can stand the initial teething issues, challenges before it becomes successful. And I think you are already there, with so many users. It's just a matter of monetizing it more and more, bringing more users, more transactions. And as this economy grows, I think the whole ecosystem will become very vibrant.
Thank you. I hope so too.
So just a bit about, the binary token and the economic layer. Um, binary is more than a token. I would say it's like an economic layer for the entire ecosystem. So how do you see binary token evolving from rewards and cash bucks today to, something bigger like powering DeFi or digital identity use cases in telecom? As a lot of people forget telcos are already fintech companies in disguise, right? They handle millions of micropayments daily. So how do you see this ecosystem evolving and the larger role which binary token is going to play?
I think first of all, that's a great observation that telcos are fintechs in disguise. That's an angle that even I hadn't thought about. So that's awesome. I'm going to use that for my marketing material. Thanks. But okay, for the token right now, we essentially keep it within the telco ecosystem, and we don't really, we haven't enabled or facilitated any off ramps. How I see the token evolving is basically this becomes a method of remittance on chain for various telco users across companies. And I think after that, the possibilities are endless. Like, for example, you're a Vodafone customer and I am a Geo customer. Say we're relatives and you're my chacha and you're sitting abroad and, I'm sitting in India and you have about 1,000 binary points and I have 500 and I need 1,000 binary points to buy or redeem an iPhone, right? And if you can send me that, then I think that changes the game, right? Not only for intra-company collaboration, but just the utility of just how tokens work in crypto today. It becomes more than just a speculative investment, but it becomes something that has real value and real utility. If we take a more grounded example, for example, like if, there's a family that is in a lower income strata and they believe that they can pool loyalty points, that and that would save them a bunch of money. That's also a possibility within the same like network provider. And finally, like once off ramping is enabled, and I'm not saying it's being enabled like tomorrow, but once the right partners are in place and once this becomes a viable method, then I guess the impact becomes even more real because then your time can truly be commoditized for money. Because right now, the way socials and the way things work is that you must spend money to make money, and then it's like it's like almost like an Ouroboros cycle, right? So honestly, it's exciting. Um, I think the magic lies in the execution. But yeah, I think honestly, for me, just sitting within the company, the possibilities are endless, and I hope we can achieve what we set out to do.
No, I think that's absolutely a very exciting point that you mentioned. The way I see it, millions of users across the globe connected using a token, and that creates massive utility. One of the use case I was working in the early blockchain days was loyalty points. Now that's a very clean, established use case for blockchain, but the challenge is if you bring in fungibility of tokens and loyalty, it basically contradicts the loyalty itself, right? But then having another token where you can monetize it in different ways, I think it goes beyond loyalty towards one specific organization. So I think this is I'm just thinking loud, but there can be a lot of exciting use cases that can come out of the way binary is structured today.
Yeah, I think it's really cool, and I think it will, if executed right, I think it will change how crypto companies and Web3 companies are run.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, Darpan, now we are coming to the end of our AMA. Just a bit about the future vision. So, if we zoom out, let's say 2 to 3 years from now, how do you see Web3 transforming the telecom landscape, or the other way around as well? Telecom transforming the Web3 ecosystem. So, do you imagine every telco having its own blockchain layer, token economy, or even DeFi marketplace?
I am not sure about the DeFi marketplace because I don't think, from what I see, I don't think people are there yet. Um, DeFi protocols are inherently, at least in their current state, complicated, and I struggle to use them sometimes. And I've been in the industry for a while now. So I think DeFi is going to be one of those things that's, if you crack it, then you're good. Um, in terms of how I see telcos evolving, I feel like there will be a greater emphasis on engaging their customers and doing that with blockchain technology and with tokenization. And finally, I think the biggest impact would be within the Web3 space, as in, builders, when they have a distribution channel as large as we can provide, can work on optimizing how their apps look, feel, and work. Because a lot of apps pigeonhole themselves to working for crypto natives, just in terms of from interface to tokenomics to features and so on and so forth. But I think the crypto native pie is small, and the rest of the pie is very, very big. So yeah, I think in those three aspects, it would be nice if we can get to where we're going.
No, absolutely. And we wish all the best to Binary Holdings, and we are very, very excited to partner with you in this journey. Um, so thanks a lot, Darpan, for this exciting, insightful, and fascinating session. I think it's actually fascinating to see, how telecom, something we use daily, might actually be the hidden driver of Web3 mass adoption. And I simply love the way, you are trying to make people learn Web3, making it disappear into their everyday experience, rather than forcing it on them. So it's a very, very fascinating and very exciting session to have with you. And we'll continue to have more sessions with you so that our users, our listeners would be delighted by your insights. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Darpan, once again for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you guys for organizing and hosting me. Appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone. Do check out the Binary Holdings, their website, their Twitter account. They are very active. It's a very, very exciting venture. If you are a telecom user within Indonesia or Southeast Asia, Thailand, etc., you must already be using Binary. Do check out. Very, very exciting. And with that, thanks a lot for listening. Thanks a lot for joining. Keep building, keep smiling.